For the Southern California Prep Insider, I'm Keith DeMolder here for another edition of the LA City Section Lacrosse Podcast, presented to you by the United States Marine Corps. We are here from Pacific Palisades Charter High School for another edition of the Lacrosse Podcast. And what a game it was earlier. Palisades with a 22-2 victory over Birmingham. We'll get to the boys' highlights in just a moment, but we just like to say that there was not a lot of action in the city section, so the top 10 and the top 8 for boys and girls respectively, mostly exactly the same. There was a little bit of a change in the girls' top 10, considering that there wasn't much action, a lot of teams on spring break, that sort of thing. So we'll go through the top 10, but make sure to check out our Twitter updates because there could be some changes come next week. So for the top 10 for the boys, let's get into it. Palisades number 1, undisputed number 1 right now in the city section. Then we go Wilson, Birmingham, El Camino Real, Hamilton, North Valley Military Institute, Valley Academy of Arts and Sciences, Hollywood, Westchester, and then Jordan at the 10 spot. So not a lot of action. Right now we just had a game and 22-2, so Palisades cements themselves as the number 1 team in the section. But overall, there's some scores missing from Hamilton, so we'll get those updated to you next week in next week's podcast. But right now, Pali looks like the top 10 team that everybody was talking about into the season. Right now, they're ranked 11th in Southern California, so they're looking to make a splash in the Southern Section playoffs after they should win the LA City Section playoffs. Right now, the Dolphins, they're looking unbelievable. Offensively, Machio Rizzone was unstoppable. Every single shot he seemed to put in the back of the net. So their team, both offensively and defensively, one of the best in the section. Wilson, though, they have a great record, and they haven't lost much, but we'll see what happens towards city section playoff play. Birmingham, they gave a great performance tonight. They could be moving down in the rankings, though, from tonight's performance. El Camino Real, they had a couple games coming up, so we'll see. This Friday, this Thursday, there's some games in the city section that could stir things up even more. So some picks for Friday. Right now, Palisades, they're playing Westlake, a Southern Section team. I see Westlake in that one, but Palisades, they're a top 10 team, folks, for a reason. They can score, they can defend. But in Southern Section, I don't know if they've been necessarily as good as people have thought. So I think that this Friday, Palisades against Westlake, it'll ultimately be a Westlake win. Not a lot of city section stuff happening this week, folks, but come next week, especially on Monday, they'll have a couple of games for you for that. As for the girls' top 10, Palisades as well, number 1 in the section. Then goes Birmingham, Hamilton, Valley Academy of Arts and Sciences, Hollywood, El Camino Real, Westchester, and then at the 8th spot, North Valley Military Institute. The one game that I was at from last week was Simi Valley, El Camino Real. At El Camino Real, the Payos with a 11-3 win over the Conquistadors. And in that one, wasn't really close throughout. Clearly, the Pioneers were the more talented team over El Camino Real, but don't take anything away from El Camino Real. They had a bunch of opportunities offensively, but just, they couldn't put it home. There was a couple shots on net that could have gone their way, but great goaltending from Simi Valley allowed them to win that one handily, 8-point game. So El Camino Real, they have a lot of talent, a lot of potential, but right now not really putting it all together. Palisades, the undisputed number 1. They have a couple games coming up this week. They've looked very good, as has Birmingham. So those are the top 2 teams in the section. Boys top 10, it's pretty spaced apart. Palisades clearly the number 1. But in the girls section, it's a little bit tighter. I think that Birmingham has a legitimate gripe to be the number 1 team right now, at least how they've played against some of their LA foes. We'll see, though, coming this week. El Camino Real, at least for our picks, playing VAAS on Wednesday, and then Birmingham at North Valley Military Institute on Thursday, and then Pali hosting VAAS on Friday. So for those picks, I have ECR over VAAS. Even though they've had a couple of bad stretches, I think that ultimately they'll pull the victory away. Birmingham against North Valley Military Institute. I think right now it's Birmingham. They look like one of the top offenses in the section. And Bodouin, it's all about her. Bedouin. We apologize if we pronounce your name wrong. Correct me on Twitter if you will. But Bella Bedouin, clearly one of the best scorers in this section. for a reason, and I think she'll lead Birmingham over North Valley Military Institute on Thursday. As for Friday, Palisades, it's an easy win over VAAS, although don't count them out. The Vipers, they've looked good. Just had to put a lot of wins together to make themselves playoff bound. And with that, we wrap up the girls' side. Let's just go now to the boys' highlights from the game tonight. 22-2, by the way, Palisades over Birmingham. And you look at Machio Rizzone doing it not just scoring, but he can also pass. We saw a lot of crisp passes from that Palisades Dolphins offense. And right now, they're just clicking on all cylinders. And it's for good reason, folks, because they like to pass the ball. They like to make sure to get the good shot in before they try and take one, because they know every possession counts, especially when they're playing a good Birmingham team that has beat the likes of El Camino Real and a couple of these other city section teams. After a 22-2 win over Birmingham, I talked with head coach Kevin Donovan about what he thought his team did well tonight. Let's take a look at that interview. And welcome back to the podcast. Keith DeMolder with head coach for Palisades High School, Kevin Donovan. Kevin, great win, 22-2 over Birmingham. How did it feel?
Felt good. We've played Birmingham now. They're in our league, the city league, and overall we kind of do a better job in our league over other teams. But it's a fun win. It's good to get back after spring break. So
the offense was really firing tonight. A lot of shots on the net. What was the key to your guys' offensive success?
Just getting guys back healthy. We've been missing guys throughout our time, and I think the kids were just really excited to get back after spring break, so they kind of let it loose tonight. And, they got a lot of good team chemistry. The kids have been playing together since 7th, 8th grade, and, getting those players healthy with Macchia Rizzoni, Jack O'Rourke, James Burks, those kind of leaders of our offense, and they did a great job tonight. I was pretty proud of them.
Yeah, Rizzoni is unbelievable firing the ball. What have you seen from him, his improvement this year?
I think overall it's more leadership than anything, kind of being a general on the field. I've really worked with him on that. He's, naturally gifted, amazing skill. He's going to Ohio Wesleyan next year. It's a top Division III school. So, he has the talent. So I think him commanding the offense has really made my job easier and just the team better overall.
So you guys are ranked number 11th right now in the Southern California rankings. You guys are one of the top teams in the city section. Who are you looking out for in the city section to try and compete with you guys?
Overall, we kind of have the city section wrapped up, but as far as the southern section, we've never been inside the top 10, and, we just got ranked 11th, when I got here, we were 3 years ago, we were ranked, outside the top 20, so we've just been making all these improvements, so I'm proud of that, but to get inside the top 10 would be great. We have, Westlake coming up number 5, Maricosta down the road, they're ranked number 9, so that's definitely a team we're looking forward to in 2 weeks, and they beat us the last 2 years in close games, so, I'm definitely excited looking ahead at those 2 games.
Right, and a big win tonight, you're going to take a lot of things away, but what is the number one thing you're going to take away, especially come late this week?
Just the belief that our kids can really play together and, use that momentum moving forward. Because, coming off spring break, it's kind of hard to have, the kids, gel together. But they were just ready to play today, which I was proud of as a coach. And, just taking away is just kind of knowing that we can play at a high level and just continue that momentum. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach.
Thank you.
Palisades with a 22-2 victory. Let's send it back to the podcast. And with that, we're going to wrap up the boys and girls LA City Section Lacrosse podcast. Once again, presented to you by the United States Marine Corps. I'm Keith DeMolder saying so long. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out those highlights on YouTube as well as Twitter. Take it easy, guys, and see you next week.